Obviously, the reason why we're here today is because we felt the urgency or the need to actually respond or say something or react to what we just witnessed within these few days, where a biracial or Afro-Fin is being attacked just because she or some people here in Finland consider that she's not Finnish enough to be the one leading the Lucia Swedish celebration, which is held here every year. I want to really just get from you guys' opinion as we are sitting here as parents of biracial kids in Finland. I wanted to know, maybe I'll start with you.
Yeah.
How, when you saw that news, how did you feel?
Yeah, first of all, hi, my name is Netta. Born and raised in Finland. I was born 45 years ago here in Finland and raised in a white family. But when I saw that Lucia, I don't know what you call that in English, but the Lucia lady, that the election was won by Afro-Fin, I knew what was coming straight away. I didn't need to wait the news. I was like, okay, it was like an election. She won fairly and whatnot, but still I saw that okay, this will be a storm because of the political atmosphere in the whole world right now. The right, like the further right side rising. So unfortunately, that was the first thing what I noticed when I saw that she was elected. That I felt that the storm is gonna come.
What was your reaction hearing what has just happened?
I guess initially I felt that there was a good sense of pride. I thought, this is what Finland needs. And, being from the U.S. and dealing with systemic racism sort of all my life, I wasn't surprised by the backlash. Because, you see these things happening, and, it's unfortunate that it happens like this everywhere. The first thoughts was like, yeah, again, this is really amazing. The second thought a little bit was like, oh, here's someone almost like an outsider that has won. And then that was further substantiated by the comments that were made. And, even in the news, at least in the English press, it stated that a black woman had racial abuse inside of Finland, and it didn't say a Finnish woman had racial abuse, and the woman is Finnish.
Yeah.
And so this sort of outsider mentality, in my opinion, still comes in when these things happen. So those are sort of my initial kind of thoughts when I saw her being nominated, and then and I sent messages out to my friend, hey, we're going to the event, to where she through the procession and sings and the parade. And, luckily there wasn't anything there. And I took my son because I want him to be proud, as he's a Finnish national, born and raised here. And I don't want him to be called necessarily, I don't mind him being called an Afro-Fin, because that recognized that he comes from the diaspora as well as he's a Finnish person. But to just be called black is just inaccurate.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it casts a whole different typecast on him as an individual, and that was sort of my thoughts throughout the whole process.
Nice. At least for me, when I saw the news first, I was very happy, very excited, because from every count, she merited it. And according to the news at the time, she was voted just like, so I was so excited. And then soon after, the celebration, and then, there's a lot of racial insult that is directed to her direction, I didn't know how to react to it, and then I was thinking that okay, maybe it's one of those like just don't even pay them any mind, because that in itself would legitimize or give them more oxygen. So, but when I sort of begin to kind of have a deeper thought about what has happened and how the whole country was actually talking about this, and I thought, oh my God, like we're back to this space again, which I think in 2024, almost 2025 now, I thought that okay, maybe we've made a lot of progress in Finland, but obviously that seems not to be the case. For me, I don't understand why, like I always say, Brother Reggie, my thinking is that everybody deserves a chance. You need to work hard. You need to actually live your life in a way that you are not a burden to yourself first, to the society and to the country. Okay? That's my whole, like, how I look at life. And now it beginning to seems like even working hard, being the best that you can be, is not going to be enough in this society. Especially, of course, for people like us, it's what we've been experiencing. But when it's now directed to the younger generation, the young kids now that we all have here, then is something that is very, very disturbing. You've lived all your life in this country. One would think that how was it? How was your experiences living through this whole situation? Because I know, as much as we're saying this since now, even me, let's say I've been here now a little bit over 20 years. Let's say 2012 until now, a lot have changed. When you think about like even what is happening in the school, in the campuses in schools, what I experience is completely different from what most of them now are experiencing, because the environment, the situation have changed or is changing. But to someone like you that have been born and and been born here for over that amount of time, yeah, you must have been through a lot of. So could you tell us what you think?
Yeah, I forgot when you asked the first question. Of course, happiness was one of the, or joy, what I felt because well, born and raised here. Lola Odusoka, I think was the first like brown Finn who was in the press, lifted because she was in this like what do you call that, like a beauty competition, yeah. So that was like the first time when I saw in my life someone who looked like me accomplishing something that what I might want to do someday. So now seeing this Lucia nomination, it made me super happy because that was the first brown Finn to be nominated as Lucia, and Lucia has been nominated every year since I was born. So it shows for the younger generation the possibility of being there, because if you don't see someone who represents your type of person who looks like you, you can't really see yourself in the position or to be able to be there ever. So, but for me, I was born and raised in countryside of Finland. So there were like, I think that I said like 300 or 600 kilometers. Me and my brother were the only brown Finns in the area. Yeah. So it was well, lots of hair touching, and of course always English, or if people could talk English. And racism, words, maybe some physical things also. Growing up. So it was hard, and I have always thought that I made my kids when I was older, so because I wanted to make sure that the world has changed, so they wouldn't have a childhood like I did, or even my brother had. Of course, male like minorities have it even worse in this. To me, from my perspective, you even have it. That situation is even worse. So seeing him grow up and cry that he can never be like a truck driver, and my mom is like, "What do you mean? Why not? There is no one that looks like me there," because the young brain sees or is visual. So and him growing up, it was super hard. Lots of racism and not like the openness for different type of energy levels, for example. Or way of talking or walking or so it wasn't easy. Easy, but I say that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and but these are things that you have to talk about, so those things won't traumatize you and make you be like bitter or sad or angry.
Yeah.
And I am angry, of course. I'm angry. It's like because the world is going from my perspective to wrong, like moving wrong direction. So yeah, but I'm here. I'm still alive, so and I'm laughing.
I like your courage. I like your courage. You know, when we think about, of course we have kids, and then you mentioned about your children also, the kind of life you want them to have, and that is where it gets really complicated. Because if you look at exactly what has happened now, we're not even talking about us. We're talking about these younger generations, okay? So how do you guys think that we should? Because how do we educate our kids? How do we raise them? What are the how do we begin to unpack to make sure that our kids that are born here, that are here in this country, that people will not stand on their way in terms of them becoming what they can be. Because that is the biggest challenge right now.
Yeah, I guess my son and I were sort of having this conversation today, and in life, people are going to stand in their way. They're going to stand in his way more because of the color of his skin, which is unfortunate. Like you say, you waited till later in life. I did the same. I didn't wait because I was hoping that the world changed. Again, being here from the U.S., I see Finland is sort of, from a racism maturity level, it's quite far behind where maybe the U.S. is. And you can see through our politics that we're still dealing with these issues. And it's politically, it's even driven in a lot of cases to keep parties in power. And unfortunately, you see that now in Finland. And the raise of the right in Europe, in general, kind of empowers this racism. And my son's asking, why are people in racism? What's the need? What drives the behavior? And he just doesn't understand, which is good. This is what a kid should feel. Most people should look at it that way. And my message to him, which I assume it is to your daughter and to your kids, is that you're going to meet different adversities. That doesn't change who you are. Yeah. Right? You can be whatever you want to be despite whatever color you are. And you should always be moving towards making yourself the best person you can be, helping the people you can, providing kind of that leader in this space, and pushing forward past these obstacles that come in front of you. Right? The whole Lucia thing, with one, it being a religious organization, that also kind of, to me, adds a different complexity to, the backlash that they received. They have their own constituents that are, not really portraying any sort of, religious beliefs when it comes to, protecting all of God's people, which I think is strange, but still strong message to my son. You can be whatever you want to be. I faced these type of racism things when I was a kid and as an adult. And I've even had relatives say that, the white man's not going to let you do these things, which is unfortunately, sometimes we as black people, we accept that belief as opposed to saying, no, that's, that has nothing to do with where I'm going, right? You can believe that if you want to, but that's not what I believe. And I think that people in general have, once they see that you're committed, they either stand down or, there's a direct confrontation and you have to be prepared for it and pick which battles you're going to pick. And I'm trying to get my son to pick his battles, now and, what's the appropriate reaction if this happens, because on the bus, at school, he gets, different comments at 10, 9, 10, and 11 now. He's 11, and which is really sad. But they, unfortunately, are faced with it, just like the candidate was.
Wow. I think that's a valid point. What do you think, Neta?
Yeah, my kids are, well, I have a foster kid who is 26. She is 26, but she's like, she lives here in Espoo and is, what do you call that, päiväkodin opettaja in English? Yeah, kindergarten teacher, but she's like, she's the next generation compared to us.
Yeah.
So she's like, she's totally different.
Okay.
Because she has had it a bit better because there were someone before her. Yeah, because she wasn't. She hasn't had so much like alone in the room, like feelings in her life. Yeah. Well, when she was younger, she was the only one in the room. But when growing up and going to high school, she wasn't anymore. So you don't have to be representing the nation of or the continent of Africa all the time whenever you go somewhere. Like, yes, hello, I'm here for Africa. Oh my God, that's one minority stress that we do have. It's amazing. So. But my kids, like my biological kids, they are like 7, 6, and 3. So they don't like read yet, because for me it's like, for example, these type of things that are in the press. Then press prints, they might use like this word, like N-word, this in the yellow press, and that's something that I don't want. I wouldn't like to ever even see that word, which is like N-word. That we shouldn't have even that, which is talking about that word. So that's to me something that I wouldn't want my kids to see those and be like, okay, this is something that is inside of me. Why are they talking? Because then they don't understand the whole situation, for example, because they don't watch the news. But of course, in these cases, when these things happen, I try to tell them, but they are super young. And then I'm trying to, my husband is white, Finn, so I'm trying to make him understand that there will be situations. My kids are super white because they are just 1/4 Nigerian. So they might be white if they are alone, but when I come to the table, they are not anymore. So that's something that I'm trying to teach to my husband, that this will, when they grow up and they go to different places, they are when they are with him, they are all a white family. Yeah, but when I come there, then people see that, okay, these kids have like some features in their face, or and they understand that the curly hair isn't like the Finnish curly hair, but it's like a Afro. But they can't, like, because you really can't see them. So
in a way they can
Yeah, they can
do
like,
disguise.
yeah, they can, and it's been actually super good for me too. I use it sometimes when they behave badly. I'm like, yeah, I'm their nanny. Parents raised them. Yeah, but you need to have a little bit of like dark side humor in this
Yeah.
life. But I think that just what Reggie said, that you really have to build your kids to be stronger. Like if normal person is 100%, when you're minority, you have to be 150%.
For sure.
Yeah, so
agree with that.
you have to be super
Yeah.
strong, and it doesn't have to be super hard to be strong.
Yeah.
But you have to be strong, and you have to be ready
Yeah.
that these things can happen. So you need to have the answer, or you need to have the like, how do I do this so it doesn't become like, oh my God, I don't have anything to say. What is this? What's happening? And you rotten, and you come home and you cry, and so it's of course for us to teach them and tell them and make them understand and build them a bit stronger.
I think I like your point. You know, when people say that, or when they hear that, maybe you have the sort of understanding or the idea to teach your kids to be, be strong, to be resilient, and all that kind of thing. That for others, if they're doing 100, that they need to do 150. They're like, why should they? But my thinking has always been, they're not doing it for anyone. They're doing it for themselves.
Yes.
Okay? They're doing it for themselves so that they can.
Of course you do, but
Yeah.
for yourself.
So that they can, they know what they are up against. Because not knowing is something different. But if you know already what you're dealing with,
Yeah.
then you better be prepared.
Yeah. You have the toolbox.
Yeah, you have the
You're
toolbox
like,
because
okay,
that's life.
Answer B.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I don't have time for you. Oh, answer A.
Yeah.
Let's continue the conversation.
So, my own daughter, I think she's 19 now. She also there was a time, at the time when she was 14, 15, 16, she had this kind of situation where she's beginning to question her identity. It becomes very clear and obvious to her that she's biracial, and then she tells how she feel like, she tells how in the metro or at school, and some teacher comes or some people meet them with a group of friends, they will talk to her in English instead of Finnish. And then I said to her, why does that bother you? You say, because why are they talking to me differently? And I said, okay, we went through that process. But I was telling her, okay, if something like that happen next time, just reply them in Finnish, so they know you're Finnish.
Or Swedish, or whatnot.
Yeah, just reply. Yeah.
Whatever language.
So it's kind of, the reason why also, of course, I always preach, Brarage, that. My thing is, let's control what we can control first. And then the things that is out of our control, then we can think about collectively how we can tackle that. But on individual basis, collectively, within our community, we should focus on the things that we can control, which is the first thing first. The foundation there is actually, what we teach our children, how we raise them, because that's the most important thing. With my own daughter, she's able to now she's at 16. She have some time, like I said, she started questioning things and all that kind of stuff, how the society is set up, but she's able to overcome that through our support and the foundation also. Me saying to her that, from where I came from, this is if this is the problem, then you haven't even started, right? You don't even have a problem. Like, you need to laugh at them, okay? And knowing who you are is the most important thing. Who you are, where you're going, that's the most important thing, okay?
Self-love.
So, and that helped her, and then through that process also, she was able to not just help herself, but write a book. Yeah, she's written a book for biracial kids to actually, encouraging and saying that, you can be both. You can be Finnish and at the same time be a Nigerian. And as a matter of fact, you can be anything you want.
Yeah.
That is totally up to you.
Yeah.
You know, and now she's actually exploring some. Before this situation issue came up, or she's actually exploring this topic that is maybe she's going to like put out her second book on that, which is what if? What if we're all the same? What if, there is no, I don't see you as biracial, I don't see you as, what if we're all the same?
Yeah.
So that is the thing that she's trying to explore. I think just in this kind of, on this topic now that we're on, my main thing, you guys can tell me if you, whatever, like how you see it. I'm thinking that for our kids to overcome all these predictable challenges, we as parents have to be really involved, because some of us also here, some of the parents here, like immigrant parents here, they think that, or passively, when our kids are actually trying to develop or go through this stage of, finding their own identity, that like they barely get involved in that process.
Yeah.
But I think that is not,
Yeah. It's not.
it's not helpful.
Yeah.
We have to also be part of that process of helping them actually shape their identity. They can shape their identity, but we can contribute to that.
Yes.
Based on our experiences, based on the things that we know, because there's a whole lot of things that they're going to learn.
Yeah.
But the things that we already know,
Yeah.
sharing those things,
Yeah.
making sure that they are grounded within their own foundation, that will help them to actually navigate
Yeah.
and become whatever it is that they want to be. Because the bottom line is that they become, whatever it is that they can be.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think this whole topic of identity is something that you've touched upon, and through a lot of the things that I see you do, you're always telling people to focus on that, and that's really good. I think again, coming from my perspective, these things are I've seen a lot of this. You talk about your kids can pass, basically. That's what we call it in the U.S. Yeah, you can pass for. And my mom actually, even though she was born to fairly fair-skinned black people, but she, could pass. And she had a real identity problem as a result of that. Because she had people who didn't know that she was black, and they would say something that kind of off color, to use that term, because they didn't know that she was black, and it really bothered her. And I think as a part of that kind of shaped who I am and my identity, because it's cemented in my mind that I'm always black, and you'll hear me say I'm black all day long, right? And I can see in a lot of times in professional settings where I've almost lost my blackness with some of my colleagues, and I've even been told that I'm not black by some of my non-black colleagues, and I'm going, well, wait a minute, what do you mean I'm not black? And it finally took me a while to figure it out that I don't fit their pattern for what blackness is.
Yeah, they have a box for
Right, they have a box for black and what that means. And I don't fit in that box, so therefore I'm not black. And I think we have to ground our kids, and I actually like this one drop rule. I pass it around through our community because, a lot of times people are wondering, like you don't act like you're African American, you act like, or you more act like you're just part of the black community, the African community, and that's because that's the way I see myself. I know that I am always viewed as black first, and it's not until the second, third, or fourth time that I lose that blackness, right? Because again, I don't fit in that box. And so that's why I always think we always got to be working together.
Sure.
Because our kids have to be working together, and they need to feel comfortable being black.
Yeah.
Right? They need to feel comfortable with that side of them, even if it's just a quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And be proud of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Because we know that the color does not dictate what we produce or what we're capable
Yeah, yeah.
of producing. It has nothing to do with
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
At any time, does it have anything to do with what I produce? No. The world thinks otherwise.
Yeah.
But I know different, you know different,
Yeah.
you know different as well. We get to see the perspective of how others view us. But that, again, based on what you're teaching people, that has nothing to do with how you view yourself.
Exactly.
Right? And if you internalize it, I think it's a crime if we let our kids not benefit from just who they are and settle into, regardless of skin color, the world is open to you. You can do everything. You may have certain privileges that get cast upon you. You know, do your best to spread those out as much as you can to everybody that you come in contact with. That's my message to my son. But if they struggle, and it sounds like Ishama has gone past this "who am I" stage, if we allow them to grow up struggling with that is our mishap, because it's our duty to make sure that they don't do that.
You want to add to that?
Yeah, yeah. I think that one thing which is amazing, that our generation, us, we are so grown. We have had all the knowledge on our hand, we have gotten the knowledge to our hands. We have been educating ourselves. So in some type of, we understand what our traumas, and we understand what our behaviors, and what, from my perspective, my mother and their parents, it was the war, like my grandparents, the war kids, and then so they didn't have all of these tools that we do have now. So I think that's one key to success in this, that we who understand that there are tools, and who use the tools and grow themselves all the time, learn and understand the world better, so we can like support our kids much better than, for example, when my mom, she didn't have there was no internet. There was no other lady with white lady with two brown kids. You couldn't ask. There was no one. You could write a letter to Nigeria to my grandma, and the letter came back like 2 months later, but the situation was gone already. And then, of course, comparing like the cultural, you can't like use the So to us, I think that's the key, and that we can really help our kids with all of this, telling, talking, maybe even looking at tarot cards, astro maps, whatever is there to get and to make this, that we are all humans, and get rid of these, who is Finn, what does a Finn look like, and this, because that's what I always say, that I'm a Finn. My mother is a white Finn, and my dad is a black Nigerian. So I like put my parents to these boxes so people understand. And they're a little bit, I see that they're like, why are you telling these? Because I'm not telling about my mom, but they don't have to, because I see, So I'm like, so people really understand it, that I am really a Finn as you are. So but I believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and these the new generation, like our kids age generation, they are much better. They don't look the world as we do.
It's crazy.
It is.
Actually, Biracial, we're that close that like my way of thinking. So, but I think that what we should be doing, And how should we tackle this kind of problem? Because I know, as much as we're talking about racism, right? The way I see it, this is pure evil. Because even saying that you're depriving someone from being able to take care of himself or herself, or just depriving them for becoming what they can be, or tempting to dent their dreams just because some part of their heritage is African, that for me is no more than like evil. Then how do we make sure that we equip them, we like mentally, physically, and psychologically, that they are strong to actually withstand this situation? I think that is maybe, what do you think, Bro Reggie?
And so again, coming back to this maturity thing, so what I got most out of what you're saying is that, you know, you can see now that we're being grouped into different categories.
For sure.
And you know, again, that's been going on a long time in the U.S. I can remember when I was in the 7th grade, I arrived and I was in a remedial math class. And you know, after a couple of weeks, the teacher came to me and she's like, "What did you do? Why are you here? What are you doing in this class? Right? You don't belong here."
Wow.
Right? And you know, and I'm like, I didn't pick this class. They picked me for this class. Right? And so then you know, luckily I got kicked out because the teacher actually noticed that you should be in the advanced class. You shouldn't be in the remedial math class. And it goes deeper than that. And I think that you know, one of the things that it may be difficult for, you know, maybe, you know, like Nigerians or people who have had their country for a long time, systemic racism isn't something that you know. You know, I know it like the other side of my hand. Right? And so I know that when, you know, even when my son was in Paivikoti and all of a sudden there would be certain terms used on his evaluation, what the sort of how that starts to typecast him as a student that early on. And as parents, we have to be there to say, no, that's not, you know, his behavior is not any different than any other 4-year-old at this time. Right, and if you haven't grown up in a systemic racism system like myself, right, you're not going to notice that, right? Because you know, how could you? You never had that system. You might have had another system in place, but you didn't have that one. And so I think we need to kind of again talk amongst ourselves to make sure that we are looking out for their best behalf and understanding what systemic racism looks like. And again, it's much less than it was in the U.S., but it's here.
It is.
You know, and luckily there's a lot of positive here as well, just like in the U.S. If somebody hadn't noticed that I'm in the wrong class, my mom wouldn't have known because you know, she would have seen the grades. Oh, he got a good grade, but I got a good grade in a bad class. Right? You know, if you're not really switched on, you have to be, you know, always kind of vigilant in looking for these things. And my son's mom, I remember when he was quite young, was like, "Oh no, there's none of this in Finland, and Finland is so good." And she's from the, you know, the Oulu area, you know, and the most attacks now we know come from that area. You know, people have to start to wake up that yes, this is alive, it is kicking, and it's growing. And you know, as Netta, as you said, you weren't surprised by the response, right? Because you've had to deal with it all your life. Well, people coming into the country, they haven't had to deal with it all their lives. And so we need to help each other as parents understand that you may run into this, right? You don't necessarily have to have a chip on your shoulder, but you need to be aware. You know, is this happening to your kid? Right? And that, I think, is one of the things that as parents that we can do, is talk with each other to make sure that our kids aren't suffering from this sort of thing?
Yeah. My brother's girlfriend is a teacher, and in a special class, or how do you call it? And she is one of the main issues. Why is that there is no communication way of communication with the parents because of language. No reading skills for the parents. So the only link between the school and the parents is the kid. So and we can all understand what a 15-year-old tells and what not tells. And are they able to really deliver? No, they are not. They deliver what they are told, but they can't like teach. So she says that this is the like the big blocker. Yeah. So there is no there's like a silo for communication. So yes, as said that we should share in the way that it's everyone like understands it. Is it's talking in different languages? What are the parents of biracial or like totally like expat or refugee families? So yeah, but I think that there's lots to do and help, and I think that to me the Lucia, getting back to that, the Lucia what like put this ball rolling, it was that I would have the voice to talk about racism in Finland, of course, yeah, because I was born and raised here, and it's been in my life, so I'm like the best expert of yeah, what yeah, I've experienced the whole but I've been, because we saw what happened to her. She was targeted, family was targeted, friends were targeted. So I've been on the verge of starting to talk about this, but I've been like keeping my family and friends safe from this, because I know that because you already have the stress, you already are facing racism, so you are already pushing a little bit like harder. Yeah. So if you get all of this hate mail, so you might like, and that's something that I'm not still sure do I want to expose myself. But now when this came, and she's a child, 20-year-old to me is a child. In US they can't even drink. Yeah. So yeah. So when a child is attacked, that was something, and that's I did open my mouth now and I did open it a lot in other like people's comment boxes, and to me I think that when talking about racism, it shouldn't be upon us to talk about racism. It should be for the what's the other word to minority? The other majority. One, yeah. They should act. They should support, because we are minority. That there's a word, a minor group, less percentage, less power, less words, audience. That's a really strong point. Yeah, so I don't think that and that's what I've been like chatting there in someone else's chat, like the threads. But I think that that's something, and not even. The first step is to post something and show your support, but talk, open your mouth, and be open and understand that you can't decide. Like you say that colleagues, they are like you're not like black anymore. So you can't pick that you're not black, but you are, because I don't know you. You're because I know that has happened to me a lot. People, no, I don't see no colors. I'm like, maybe you should go to the eye doctor, because there are vivid colors in this world, and you should see those, because that's the extra layer of this, all of the beautiness, and then that but not Netta, you. But these other black people, I'm like, what? Why are you unboxing me from my box? I want to go to the. I'm more comfortable of being in this box, because I belong to this box. I do belong to the other box also. Right. Like the, I don't know what's that, like the. Majority. Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
I got the benefit of one time talking to Cornel West, who was one of the founding fathers of the civil rights movement in the 60s. And I asked him the question, you know, in the 60s, there was this huge momentum for equal rights and those sort of things. What was the tipping point? What changed? And he said basically exactly what you were saying, that it wasn't until the average white U.S. citizen joined the cause that the momentum that we weren't able to make any significant change. And so, yes, we should talk about it, and we should gear our children up, but it is the Finnish majority that needs to address these things. Right? We can help them. We can provide leadership. No worries with that. But they are the ones who have to take the responsibility. And that is, you know, that was exactly what his words were when he replied back to me. Yeah.
Interesting point. I think, at least for me, the way I look at this, and that's how I kind of, with the lens with which I see the world, that's how I've been able to also like try to raise my child, because I don't want her to live her life as if she's a victim. So on that ground, I've always made her to see what is possible, what are the opportunities are. So in that way, she's empowered. Because if I sort of let her focus on the things that, like on the limitations and challenges alone, that might create some kind of barrier, and then the way she see herself and that sort of thing. And to a large extent, of course, she's only 19 now. I don't know, she's still growing, but I think from where she stands now, I'm really happy and proud where she is. But I think that sort of mentality is what I think could be helpful for our kids. And I've always said that there are two things, two ways to look at life when it comes to becoming and achieving your dreams. So one being, if you have talent, it doesn't just work by itself. You need to work hard, take responsibility, and then of course, if you want to acquire a skill, you go to school. But even not going through the traditional means, there's other ways now to acquire skill, and that itself also require accountability. It requires focus. It requires discipline, and that's the way I raise my child basically. So but right now she knows who she is. She's when she see a lot of things, she laugh and she have her own opinion, which I'm very, very grateful for, because she's not. And I always, since she was born, I've always made her, because from what my mom how my parent, how especially my mom, how I was raised. My mom, like you saw, there was one thing that I share around, that I was 11 at the time, and my mom asked me like, come here, like, how many times would something happen to you before you learn? And I was like, I'm smart, like, once something happened to me once, I will learn. He said, because you are a fool. And so you need something to happen to you before you learn. He said, that's how fools learn. I was like, when she said that, I was in a big shock. Like I can't, like it's still. Yeah, I thought I was smart to give you that answer, that I will learn just once, that I wouldn't want to repeat it, right? And then she said to me like, listen, if you are smart, you can also learn from other people's experiences. So meaning, if someone have done something and the outcome wasn't really good, you can see that is out. So there is no need to repeat that process. So when she said that, I was like, wow, okay. Then I take that with me. So I always like to learn from not just my own experiences of something that haven't worked out well, but I look at my environment, what haven't worked, and that sort of thing. And that is how I build my own sort of thinking to make sure that I'm actually learning. Because once we stop learning, then life is over. So, for our kids, the mindset to say, don't see yourself as a victim, work hard, don't, because if you work hard, you make it difficult for them to put you down. But if you're just focusing on the things that is against you, then because what we focus is what expands, right? So that's at least my way of doing or raising my kids, and also for people within that around me, I try to help them in that way also. So I think that when we kind of empower our kids in this direction, that like the underlying thing is you can do whatever you put your mind to. Work hard, think, because everything starts here. And I always tell my daughter, like, think, think, because it's not just what everyone else is doing, because everyone else is not you. What do you? You have your own feelings. So think, and that's my main thing, or if you like, the kind of like the bottom line too, that I think that if she have this understanding, life will be a bit easier. Okay, and she will be able to navigate all these predictable challenges or challenges that she might face. So maybe in wrapping up. Oh, you want to?
No. We can wrap up.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, like, what do you guys think? Like because I've just kind of highlighted,
3 points.
yeah, what I think or what I'm doing to actually.
I have 3 points.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But
So-
I have small kids.
Yeah,
You know
but
these
yeah,
three.
it's even better because as they are growing up, what you give to them, they absorb it, and they begin to grow with it, and then as they grow, they begin to shape their own mind, and those things help them in the process.
Yeah.
Come back to the initial point that I was making earlier, right?
Yeah.
That as they are growing and trying to find themselves, if we just just go and learn from the internet, okay, everything goes, no problem, then everything goes. But those foundation, when they have something solid, that this is like I say to, like what my mom told me. My mom said to me, your life in this house, and I was about 9 years old, 9, 8 about. He said, your life in this house, excellence is not expectation, it's a standard.
Yes.
I was like, what is that? He said, it's a standard. He said, yeah. He said, you need to have your standard
Yes.
and always think. And those are how.
Yeah.
So I don't, even till today, I don't mind everyone is running towards the same direction and I'm taking another direction, or I'm not even running at all.
Yeah. Or
Because,
waiting.
because I always like to think,
Yeah.
if I do this, what is the consequences of my action? If I try, would I succeed? That's how I kind of carry myself. That's how I live my life. That's the sort of the perspective with which I view this world that I'm living. And yeah, it translated to how I relate with my child, wanting her to be the best that she can be, supporting her in every way possible, making sure that her mind is intact, she's able to think for herself rather than just, because by default, we are the product of the environment that we find ourselves. But if we, let our mind work, it's very powerful. So that's my own way of actually saying, okay, this is how we should, or help our kids so that all these evil people, I don't call them racist, I call them evil people that think that you have to suffer because part of you is black or you are black. You are not deserving of anything. They don't think whether you have family. They don't think that even if
someone's tired.
and I find it
That's how I
really
think of it.
exactly. I find it really difficult to believe that someone can actually have that mind to think that you can punish someone, deprive them, no matter how much hard they work, no matter how like dedicated they are, because they have dream, they have aspiration. You just quash that dream because of that one reason. Okay, that is for me evil, and I don't even know how else to even express this, that if you have this kind of thinking or feeling that because I'm not Finn, even if, because the thing is that you can be as patriotic as possible as a Finn, protecting your own country, wanting the best for your own country, without destroying other people's dream, just because they are in your country. Because I'm not here to tell them how to live. I'm not here to teach them their value. Okay? My only thing is to actually make sure that I contribute. I take care of myself and my family. And once you're depriving me of that, you're an evil. Okay? So, what do you...
Three.
Yeah, share your three.
Yeah, one, two, three. Okay, I have young kids, so we all know that it's kiristyslahjonta. What's the third one? These Finnish. I can't say those even in English, but basic. But in the deeper level, those are like the daily what I use, so I can make them like pride. No, when you I don't know what. Hey, you are putting this to internet, right?
Yeah.
Hey, please write to the comments, what are these? Kiristyslahjonta ja sitten siellä on se kolmas, mitä Suomessa käytetään lasten kasvatukseen. Ne on ne basic-tason. Laittakaa kommenttiboksiin. So in English, so they get that knowledge, what I'm supposed to share. But deeper, like in deeper level, my like the best one that I have ever, and what's been in my core, and what I teach to my like oldest foster child, that be everyone's friend. Don't ever turn your back to anyone.
Excellent.
Yeah, and she says that that's the best thing that I have ever taught. Or she has, because now she's like still super young, but she knows lots of people. So she has the network and safety. The village, her village is huge, because she was everyone's friend. And then the second is self-love. You have to love yourself. Definitely. To be able to love other and do the service work that we are here for. Sure. Sharing. Is it knowledge, money, love? What can you share? And for the younger kids, like building that up, the self-love, the worthiness, with wording. Like, you did great, oh my God, super, and how was your day? Going to their level, asking them, what were the 3 best things today? Or even one, wow, and supporting and building the confidence and the self-love, and not in the like that you're the best always, not like that, but just basic that super trooper, you put your shoes on, words, using words, and then listening, listen. When, like you said, that you learn from other people's experiences, how do you know the experiences? You listen or read, but in this case, children's case, like try sometimes to be quiet and listen.
Sure.
Yeah, because with that knowledge that comes from your ear, you're thinking, and then you're making some type of, but those are the 3.
Excellent point.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Over to you, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I have three, but
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe you
these
have
kind of
4.
foundational or value things is always had. I've gotten from my family is a strong work ethic. Is that you always need to show up. And my grandfather used to say you have to make it good. And he was a man of fewer words. He only had a 5th grade education, but he did really well for himself.
Excellent.
And people don't believe that this sort of stuff still happens in the U.S. Yeah, my grandfather was the son of a sharecropper, which is kind of slavery 1 degree removed.
Wow.
And so but he did really well for himself, even with his 5th grade education, and so instilled a quite good degree, work ethic degree in me, and I'm trying to show that to my son. And that doesn't always mean physical work as it did more in his era, but using your brain and thinking, like what you said. And we say it just what you were saying. A wise man learns from the mistakes of the others, and a fool learns from his own. And so I'm trying to teach my son, that one first and foremost. I usually say it as that there are only good examples. There's either a good example of what to do or a good example of what not to do. So you can choose, but it's still a good example. So and when you kind of make some mistakes, it was a good example of what you shouldn't do. And that happens. And this whole thing is, my dad used to say that you should be able to talk to anyone, whether or not they're digging ditches or they're the president, right? Or you're in the right, and so along the same lines, and and always respect people who are making an honest living regardless of what they're doing. Right, and so that's the way I try to live life, and try to include everyone I can, because I think we all need the support of each other, and especially amongst the Black community, there's no reason for us not to work together.
Sure.
And I think the international community in Finland also needs to understand that, because in a lot of cases, there's no other segregation of we're immigrants. We're all, immigrants. It doesn't matter if you come from the U.S., you come from Nigeria, you come from Iraq. When the paper says an immigrant did something, that's all of us.
Yeah, like say we are representing Africa when we
Right,
walk out
yeah.
the door. I'm like, hello.
Yeah.
Greetings from Africa.
Yeah, greetings from the motherland. And I feel that. I'm okay with that. That's actually cool for me. I'm ready to
me too.
represent. Yep, at any time I'm representing.
Yeah.
So and that kind of leads me to my third thing, which is be present. Show up. We had a conversation. He had a nice speech at just here recently, and I didn't show up. And the reason I didn't show up is because my mindset said Kingsley has this, he has all of these things going, he doesn't need my support, and that is wrong. And we had a conversation about it. It's wrong. We need each other's support. Regardless
you might
of
be alone
right,
in the room,
right,
represent,
right.
like talking there,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I am.
As confident I am in him, I know he's confident. That doesn't matter. We should show up.
Definitely.
Right, and be there for people. And that's one of the reasons why I like Kingsley, is because he's probably said accountability 10 times in this conversation, and he holds people accountable. But he starts with himself. He holds himself accountable.
Yeah.
Right. That those things are core values that I think we need to always portray to our us as well as our kids. So thanks for the opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. This is so interesting and so reaching, and I think we should continue this conversation, especially whether it is an event or podcast form like this, so that you never know, to make people know that they are not alone, that we are all in this together, to actually help ourselves and help our kids to be the best version of themselves. Because at the end of the day, that's what's gonna matter.
Yeah.
You know. So, but
Keep the ball rolling.
Exactly. But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Tack.
Yeah.